welcome to CX Today. I'm Susie Harrison, Senior Content Editor, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Fred Fontes, who is GM of Implementation and Delivery at Replicant. So welcome, Fred, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Susie.
So what do you see as the key opportunities and challenges for AI in the contact center?
That's a fantastic question and an incredibly relevant one these days. It's a super exciting time just given the evolution of AI, particularly as it pertains to the contact center. And we really see this as an amazing opportunity to go from what has been a world of really deflecting and shifting customers from high-cost channels like voice to low-cost channels like chat or SMS, to a time where the technology is finally there to meet customers where they want to be met over the voice channel and really engage with them to fully resolve their issue. I think that's going to create some amazing opportunities for contact centers, not just to help their customers and provide a better experience, but also to help their agents in uplifting the work that the agents are doing and upskilling them to be able to tackle more complex, more nuanced issues that customers are calling in. I think conversely, the challenge is going to be being able to take apart a little bit of hype versus reality, and be able to distinguish from what is maybe a great demo from a relatively early stage startup to something that is enterprise grade and ready to tackle customer challenges at scale.
And do you have a sense of how an enterprise knows when they're ready to adopt AI? Like, do you have some sort of key indicators that suggest that they're ready to adopt these technologies?
Absolutely. We think about a couple of things that really help guide whether or not a contact center is ready for implementing AI or conversational AI. First and foremost is they have a real problem to solve. There's a real opportunity in order to either better address customer challenges, or they've got real concerns around spikes in volume and volatile changes in demand, or they simply can't keep up with customer expectations today. So for us, it all starts with having that real problem. You're not looking to just test some technology. You're not looking to run a pilot to see if this is interesting for you. You've got a real problem that you need to go solve. Second, I would say, and this applies to many technology implementations, is stakeholder buy-in. Really making sure that you've got commitment from leadership to go tackle the particular problem that you're tackling with, and you've got commitment to leveraging AI to transform the organization. Third, and this really takes many different flavors, but is an integration-ready tech stack. It doesn't mean a perfect tech stack, and we can talk about that a little bit more down the line, but really at least a tech stack that is available and ready to be integrated with. You've done your due diligence that the systems that you're using are accessible, they've got APIs, they've got ways to get data in and out, and you're able to do that. And then last but certainly not least is a security and compliance question. In some industries, AI is more regulated than in others. Some subjects may be a little bit touchier when it comes to use of conversational AI. So we want to make sure that our customers do their due diligence and have checked the boxes that their particular business case, their particular business is ready from a security and compliance standpoint to adopt these kinds of technologies.
So if a company has hypothetically ticked all those boxes, what would be your top tips for deploying AI in their contact centers?
Absolutely. Number one for us is starting now. And I know that probably sounds a little bit cliche coming from a vendor in the space, but we really see this as a massive opportunity. And the companies that are taking advantage of the technology, which is finally ready and capable, are the ones that are learning the fastest. They've got the biggest opportunity to evolve how they're using the technology. And they're really the ones who are able to get ahead, not necessarily because they've waited for everything to be perfect and then they've made the jump into AI, but really because they've gone through the learning process of understanding where it can be applied, how it can be applied, and how it's going to impact their business. I think the second area or tip that we see for customers looking to implement AI is starting with a quick win. Many folks think that the answer to get started is I need to have a multi-year roadmap and I need to have figured out the 52 use cases that I need to be able to tackle with AI. And what we find most successful organizations do is actually the exact opposite. They find 1 to 2 use cases that can really demonstrate ROI, that are going to showcase the value of what the technology can deliver. And then they build on that momentum with subsequent use cases. And then last but not least, I would say is assessing your strategy. There's not a one size fits all to how you implement AI in the contact center. So whether you're going to partner with somebody who can work side by side with you through the journey as a replicant would be, or you're looking to bolt on a solution to your existing stack, or you're even considering DIYing the approach, take a step back and really think about what are the pros and cons of each of those and which is the best fit for your organization, for your team, for the model that you're trying to deploy.
And are you seeing sort of common challenges and pitfalls that your clients and perhaps other enterprises are facing when they're deploying AI, or are they quite disparate, the challenges that they come across?
Yeah, I would say there are a couple of kind of common issues that we see. One is a little bit of what I like to call the where to start paralysis. Many organizations see the potential, they read about AI in the headlines, their CEO or C-suite is likely telling them, I need you to think about where you're going to implement AI within the organization. And they're struggling to think about, okay, what's the use case? Where do I get started? And at least what we've seen really help here is leaning on benchmarks or asking your partners to do an assessment for where AI can be impactful. To give you a simple example, we work with many prospects to take sample calls out of their call center, analyze them, and be able to assess which of the call flows are likely potential areas for automation, and within those areas for automation, what's the return and the value going to be? So take a little bit more of a data-driven approach versus kind of this paralysis of where to start. Second, a little bit related to the point we talked about earlier, is this kind of notion of IT readiness has to be perfect. I have to wait until my CRM implementation is done and my next CCaaS implementation is done, and all of these stars perfectly line up to be able to take advantage of AI in the contact center. And what we see actually be more practical is taking a one step at a time approach and relying on your partners to help you along the way. Being able to tell them, hey, this is the CRM we have today. It's functional. It gets you access to the data you need. We'll be migrating to something else 6 months down the road. Think about that as you're doing the implementation, or help us prep, but don't miss out on the value that you could be capturing today. And then the last one, and this one was a little bit counterintuitive for me, is shying away from agent impact, or shying away from having conversations with the frontline agents about the impact of conversational AI. The clients who've leaned in the most and have really engaged with their agents the most, in many cases even introducing the AI system as a colleague to their agents, are the ones who've seen the most positive results. The agents saw AI as being complementary to their work, not necessarily taking work away. They were excited about finding ways to improve the system versus pushing back against the transformation, and really saw just much better value and integration between the AI and the human agents than folks who kind of skirted away from the question because they thought that it would be sensitive or political, and didn't really engage their agents in the process of transforming the contact center.
So you mentioned there about data feeding into determining the ROI of these AI deployments. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Are there certain metrics that you're particularly looking at, or that you have clients that, a set that you recommend? Can you just talk a little bit more about ROI?
Yeah, and in the contact center, the obvious starting point is always cost per minute. What does my cost to handle a conversation compare like between the AI system versus the human agent? And am I driving cost savings? Most of our clients actually don't start from a point of, I want to save X, but really deploy the system. And over time, we're able to see natural agent attrition take place and drive cost savings that way. The second area that most folks don't think about necessarily is driving CSAT or caller NPS. What we have found is actually really interesting about deploying AI in the contact center is where most folks would think callers would be frustrated about having to go through an AI system or talk to an AI versus talking to a human. In many cases, callers prefer it. They don't have to wait in a queue to talk to a human. The system is in many cases more efficient than a human is at resolving certain problems, and they're able to get their issues resolved faster and more efficiently. So we actually see CSAT and caller NPS go up as a result of the deployment of conversational AI. And then lastly, maybe a little bit softer, is agent attrition and the softer benefits around agent satisfaction. Having agents that are more engaged, that have the time to actually be excited about a customer conversation, that end up being better brand representatives as a result, and really helping boost the reputation of the brand. So we really think of it as kind of that cascade. Obviously, cost per minute is the hard ROI that a CFO is going to look at. But from there, the bigger picture story is that CSAT and agent satisfaction.
And lastly, in a market where literally every provider is talking about AI and what they can provide, in terms of CX, how does an enterprise starting on this journey drill down into who their provider should be? What do you think that journey looks like in terms of who they should work with?
Yeah, absolutely. To me, it's a question of fit, really, and understanding what is it that you can bring to the table, and therefore where do you need your provider to be able to meet you. We see kind of three different courses that many organizations take. There's the DIY. I've got a large enough IT team. They can pull together the resources from different systems and different organizations to build this themselves. And most importantly, they've got the capability to maintain it themselves over time. That's a question that many folks don't really think about in the implementation of these systems. It's not just a question of standing them up. It's a question of about maintaining them and adapting them as your business continues to evolve, and that's a non-trivial task. The second is the approach of bolting onto your existing systems. You likely have a CCaaS solution in place today. They likely have some sort of automation offering. You can bolt that onto your existing solution. And that's, I would call it a little bit more DIY light. You're still having to do the development yourselves, but you're doing so within the confines of an existing system. You still have to think about, how do I maintain this over the long term? Do I have the expertise to stand this up myself? And that's not just expertise from a technology standpoint, but really thinking about conversational design and really thinking about the user experience within the contact center. And then the last piece, which is a little bit more where Replicant sits, is the strategic partnership. You're looking to work with someone who's going to be side by side with you along the entire journey, helping you through everything from the conversation design to the integration with your existing systems, to maintaining and evolving the solution over your time as your business evolves.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Fred, for joining us today. And thank you to our viewers for watching this video. If you did like it, please do like and subscribe to the channel for notifications of more videos as they drop. And of course, keep an eye on cxtoday.com, where we'll continue to follow AI and Replicant as this news evolves. So thank you, Fred, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Susie. Have a good afternoon.